Matt and I are out and about early this morning. We're going to try to do some things in the garden. I'm going to pick some beans. I'm going to start right here with these greasy beans behind me. Go get our butter beans, try to pick some of them. And Matt, though, he's going a different direction. He's headed to the wood pile. This is the beginning of the time of the year that we start thinking about, oh, winter's coming. Maybe we should do some wood.
I actually should have already had it done.
Yeah, we're never those people that already have it done, though.
No.
We're just we can't never manage that. Anyway, Matt's going to go towards the wood pile, and I'm going to go to the bean patch. It's been a while since we picked these, so I'm sure there's enough for a mess. I'm hoping that there's enough for me to share with Granny because she likes the greasy beans. In fact, since I've got to pick those others, I may just take all these to Granny and surprise her. She don't like our rattlesnake beans, which we've already pulled them up, but she does like the greasy beans. Beans have grew over into the grapevines. The grapes are all gone from these. This is the first time that we ever had grapes on these vines. The name of the grape is Reliance, and it is so sweet. It was the best eaten grape. I love our other grapes, but they're mostly good for, I mean, you can eat them, but they're just more tart. These were really sweet, and they were just perfect. That's all we did was eat them. Of course, it only had one or two groups of grapes, but they were so good, so tasty. So I hope next year does even better and we have more of them. I think I've got all the ones on the front. I'm going to leave those that are small. Now I'm going to go around to the back and see what I can see from that side. So I ended up with way more than a mess. They're really pretty beans. If you can see, if it shows up, you see that little sheen on the bean? Kind of looks like it's wet. It's not wet. It almost looks like if somebody's rubbed a little bit of grease across it. That's why they're called greasy beans. They have that sheen to them. Really pretty bean and really tasty. And you can find them, if you just search greasy bean seed online, you're going to find all kinds of different varieties of them. We have some volunteer tomatoes growing right here by the end of the beans. We didn't plant those. It's probably some seeds I threw out or that got mixed up in the compost or something like that. But they've been tasty. We've been enjoying them. And hiding down here in the weeds are I think there's 3, one over there, the few watermelon that I managed to grow. You can see how small. That's about the typical size for us. That one's got a bad place on it. So I don't know if I'll be able to eat it or not, but I'm going to go ahead and get them. Since I look for the vine to dry back like that before I harvest them. And sometimes something eats them before that happens, but I'm going to at least get to cut that one open and see if it's any good. So I found one more little one. These are supposed to be big watermelons, so I'm not sure that they'll even be ripe on the inside, but the vines have done all they're going to do for this year. So I'm going to at least cut them open, and if they're not edible for me, the chickens will enjoy them. Now I've come down to the big garden to look at the butter beans and start harvesting some of them. I see a few rattlesnake beans there on this row that we've left. So many of you gave me great tips about how to know when to actually harvest the butter beans, and I appreciate that. I see more blooms. I don't know if they'll actually put out more beans for me this year or not. We were had that terrible dry weather earlier in the summer, then our rain come back like it usually does, more like usual weather, and now it's dry again. So things are really suffering between it being dry, and then also this is just the time of the year that things start naturally dying back. I may have let some of them get too dry. They're kind of rattling around on the inside, which they'll still be good even if they were completely dried. You could still cook them and eat them. I dropped one. I'm going to have to go back on that back row anyway to look, so I'll get it when I go back there. Several folks have told me that there's a stray bean growing. Lots of folks have told me that their butter beans just keep producing right up until frost, so maybe that's what's about to happen here. So I ended up with quite a few. Let's see if we can break one of them open and see what the butter beans look like. Ooh, beautiful beans. Let's see what another color is. See if there's different ones. Oh, look at those. So pretty. Let's see about this one. This one. More of the pink. More actually of a really deep. Isn't that pretty? More of the kind of speckledy ones. So pretty and will be so good to eat. It's the last little portion that I'm going to pick. We've been eating them. They are the Good Mother, let me look, Good Mother Stallard pole bean. Good Mother Stallard pole bean. I've just been calling them the mother bean. I said if there was ever a year for us to grow a bean that had mother in it, this was the year, with the girls both having babies. But they have been really tasty. We really have enjoyed them, so we'll likely grow them again. And they've produced pretty good too, considering this has not been a good year because of the dryness that we've had. But they've done pretty good. Way better than our rattlesnake beans did. So I ended up with a pretty good amount of the mother beans. That's what they look like. They're a really, really pretty bean too. Found a squash. These are brandywines that I got down here. They've done pretty good for us this year. This is the beautiful tomato that I'm calling the Randy Hooper that we got from Debbie. The seeds from her, and they're really tasty too. Just really a bright flavor, not as dusky or rich or deep as the Cherokee Purple, but just a brightness to it. We've really liked them. And then over here is the one hillbilly that we grew, only one, that's it, so we'll have to taste it. And these are two of the black crims. I actually broke that one getting it off, so that one will have to be eat today. On this row just in front of the ones I was picking there, you can see here's the ones me and Matt, when we tore out the rattlesnake beans we planted. You can see they're doing pretty good. Some of them are starting to climb up. This was the cucumbers. They've not started running yet, but they look pretty good. I don't know if they'll have time to make anything. And then on this lower part is the rattlesnake beans that we replanted, and they've already reached the top of the cattle panel and are starting to bloom. So hopefully we'll at least get some from them. And the turnips that we sowed, they're looking pretty good too. They're up and growing pretty thick there. We may have to thin them, but we will thin them by eating the greens from the tops of them. It's been so dry though. We have tried to water the turnips and the row of beans and cucumbers, but you know, watering just don't seem to do what rain can do. We had that wonderful rain come back like we usually have it, and then it disappeared on us again, so I'm not sure how good either of these will end up doing when it's all said and done. Here's a beautiful ochre bloom. Isn't that just lovely? We've been getting ochre, but I'm not enjoying it as much this year because I just don't like the variety that we ended up planting. It was Alabama something. I couldn't find my Jing orange that we all just adore, and I've just not been as pleased with the taste of it, but isn't that beautiful? So this is the winter squash that we planted. We got it planted entirely too late in the year, and then also just the dryness has not helped it any. We do have a few things growing. There's a butternut and a cushaw that's pretty big. That one might make it, might mature enough for us to harvest. I'm not sure. Here's another little cushaw that's just starting out. I've not seen one pumpkin though, so our winter squash is not going to be much this year. Not a bad morning's harvest. Didn't take me too long. I think Matt's taking a break from working on the wood, so I'm going to go find him, see if he wants to eat a popsicle. Being gentle, huh?
I'm a genteel man.
Something bit me, or either it's just the beans making me itch. We're sitting in the shade right now because it's so overcast, but I just know the sun's going to come back out and get us. It may.
Probably. I've got some kind of limb in the back of my head that I'm going to get rid of.
I wish this overcast sky meant that we was going to get rain, but I don't think there's...
There's an apple limb.
And don't think there's no chance of it. Here, let me help you out here. It's, oh, I see now. It's grew through the... Wait a minute. Now, how's that?
Thank you, saved my life.
Yeah, saved you from the apple tree. But I don't think there's no chance of rain anytime soon, is what I was going to say. It's got really dry again.
Yeah.
Our weather went back to that wonderful rain every 2 or 3 days, and now it's gone again. And this time of the year, things naturally start dying back. I had somebody ask, well, how could that, why is that? Because, you know, you still have warm weather. And generally our first frost is in October, sometimes not even till November, but why would your stuff not just keep growing? That's just not the nature of things. I don't know, here where we live. For one thing, the sun changes the way it is in the sky, so here where we're at on the north side, we get less sun every day. But even down in the settlement, as Pap would say, where there's a lot of sunshine, it's just the nature of things this time of the year to start naturally dying back.
We have a life cycle.
Yeah, which is part of their life cycle. So, and you can replant things like me and Matt did, like get a second go. But even those, it becomes a point where even those are not going to do as good. Even though you think, well, they're younger than those others that you planted, you know, way early in the spring. But it's just the nature of the weather and the plants, how it all works together, that this is just the time of the year for it to start dying back naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the reason you maybe think, well, why do you plant fall things? Well, the things that we plant, like those turnips, Binks scared me. He come out between my feet. they can stand the cold once the cold gets here, and they will grow very slowly. They just grow a little bit at a time. There's no really thriving in them. A lot of times the things we plant in the fall will kind of just hang on a little bit, and then in late winter, really early spring, they really pop out. It's kind of like you've got ahead of it. But those are things that can stand the cold when it gets here, and then also their growth is really slow, really slow. It's not that vigorous growth that you would have in May or June or, April. And of course, it depends on where you're at too. People that are further south than us, a lot of their gardens are already gone because of the heat and stuff, but they started way earlier than we did too. And then the same would be true farther north than us. They got started later, so it's all varies depending on where you live.
Them seeds knows what time of year it is.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently.
Yeah, it knows where they're growing. If they got to worry about that cold, late cold or early cold, or or the heat, the unbearable heat. Of course, there's lots of places that get way hotter than we do here.
It sure is hot splitting wood, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's been hot.
I don't generally do that in August.
No.
We should have done it in the spring and already been through with it and stacked up and ready, but we don't never get that done.
No, we're just not those people somehow. Never managed to do that. Since last year, though, Matt has a new splitter, and he likes it a lot better. The other one he'd had for so many years, and it wasn't that great of a splitter in the first place. And it just was, you always had to work on it before you could actually use it.
Yeah, and then a lot of times you get it running and get started and then have to finish up with an axe anyway because it quit and you couldn't get it started back, and then that makes me want to say mean things.
Yeah.
So
I said last year, after this year, you just have to get a new one. So far, pleased with his new one. What kind is it? If anybody wanted to know, what's the brand?
It's a county line, I think, from Tractor Supply. But it's big and it's a 40 ton. That's the biggest one I've ever had, and it don't even slow down in what logs I've got, so I enjoy that. It makes a pile of split wood in a hurry. Mm-hmm. So that's good.
Yeah.
That might make me put my axes up, Ricky.
No, you like the axes too much. It is, though, even though I said it's been really hot, it has been. But there's other little signs of fall coming, including the plants. Kind of, you can just tell they're on their way out. I guess Matt's a sign, since he's now thinking, hey, I better get some wood in.
Right.
But one of the things I've noticed, Matt probably has too, probably for 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks, I've been hearing crickets all hours of the day out here, especially in the shady places. They're just a constant chorus of crickets. Mm-hmm. And you don't hear those in the early summer and in the like in July, so that's just one of the signs.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's others too. Well, Matt told me a minute ago, said, you hear that? It was acorns falling. Mm-hmm. So that's one for sure.
It's a little early for that, but I've noticed here below the house, the squirrels are already cutting them out. And when they get big enough to start cutting out, it's getting on toward the, fall's not far away.
You probably see, as we're sitting here, some leaves falling. Mm-hmm. It's almost like we orchestrated that, Dad, but we didn't, of course. How could we?
You must have telepathically done that.
Told the trees to show a little bit of fall.
You got more power than I thought. Now I'm scared.
I love to garden pretty much more than anything. I just love it. But this time of the year, I'm like, okay, I'm anxious for it to be all done. All the hard work of putting up and caring for it, and because the garden takes on kind of that look of death, the impending death, brown around the edges, I say, and I don't like that. And in southern Appalachia, where we live, it's an unbelievable amount of growth each summer. Even if you didn't plant a garden, I'm talking about the weeds and the trees and the bushes, and it's just overwhelming how much grows. Mm-hmm. But those first few frost, all that just gets pushed back. I mean, not the not the big trees, I'm not talking about that, but all the understory of weeds and stuff gets pushed back. And I think I'm always anxious for that, just because everything, even the weeds and stuff, start kind of looking rusty. So it's about that time. Used to, of course, in the old days, when Corey and Katie was little, this time of the year, we was thinking about getting back into the routine of school. We hadn't had to worry about that in a long time, though. But for some people, that's kind of what I think of the end of summer, longing for that first frost and first cool weather, and then you think about kids going back to school, but the end of the garden too, the end of having tomatoes sitting on your counter that they're calling to you, got to put me up or I'm going to go bad.
It's going to be sad when there's no more of those.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, anyway.
Your daily tomato sandwich.
I've not eaten one in the last 2 or 3 days. I've got my field on the first shift of them. Now I'm about ready to get started on them again, because you start seeing the plants start dying back. I get kind of in a panic mode, and I just want to eat and eat and eat them because they're going to be gone.
Yeah. The tomatoes have done pretty good. That's another thing this year. I think I'm anxious about it being over in one way, because it's just been so tough with that dry weather that we typically don't have to worry about. I'm tired of nursing along.
Yeah.
There's always things you learn, though, every year. We definitely learned that we think it could always change, but those deer alarms work. There's been no deer in the garden, in Granny's garden or in the big garden. So next year we may have them so loud going off that nobody can't stand it.
Well, it's about that way this year.
Matt's wanting them to go away because they get on his nerves, because other things set them off too, like birds and things like that, and so he's wanting them to go away. He's already took the ones out of the big garden and basically, I think, turned it over to the deer if they want it. I don't think they've been back in it, but
no, I don't think they have.
But they've definitely worked. So that was, if you have that problem, they might work for you, and who knows, they may not work for us next year. But we'll sure be trying them, have them out early. You could probably fool. I mean, I know you can. We didn't. We just left it on the set and it was on. But you could, like, it's a dog barking and gunshots. You could probably do one or the other, and maybe it wouldn't be so annoying to Matt. I don't know.
Well, the annoying thing is all the streamers and the pie plates are hanging right in front of them, and when the wind blows, it sets those things off, and they go off.
That's down at Granny's.
600 times a day,
That's
probably.
the ones at Granny's, yeah. That didn't happen at the big garden, but they did.
They never stop.
But it's worked. There ain't been no deer
It
in
has
the
worked,
garden.
I will say that, because they've not been back.
Yeah. I hope next year, they're always thinking about the next year's garden. Of course, Matt's thinking about a way to irrigate in case this happens again, make it easier. And we hope our beans do better, because this is the worst year for beans that we've had. Even though today I did pick some, that's just usually us a picking of beans is like 2 5-gallon buckets full. So we hope that. But I was looking at searching for something on my computer, and I came across an old, like maybe when I first started doing videos here on YouTube, and I just glanced at it. So it had something about the garden, so I clicked on it and watched it. And I thought my garden was so neat. Look how neat that is. It was down at where my flowers are at, where the squash and stuff. It's like, it's so neat. Look at that. It looks beautiful. It's not looked like that in 2 years, though. That area last year didn't get took care of because of Miss Cindy being sick and then passing away. And this year, Granny. So, and babies and lots of things, the good and the bad. And the good for Granny, that she got better and got to come, we didn't really think she'd ever get to come home from the hospital. It was so serious, but she did. It's doing great, so wonderfulness. And way better that than who cares about a messy garden, and who cared about it last year with Miss Cindy either. We were just focused on her, but then I think next year I want to make sure that area looks like that again. It was so neat and nice. It looked really, really good. There's always things you want to think about for next year. I am glad this year we've got to put up a lot more stuff for the winter than we did last year. So even with the drought-like conditions, we still have managed to put up more, just because last year we were dealing with, of course, Miss Cindy and then her death and grieving, and we kind of let the garden get away from us last year just because of being too busy with her. So it was our fault really that it didn't do as good, but this year we've managed to put up a lot more, which is nice. It'll be nice this winter.
Yeah, it will.
Be good.
I'm a little bummed out that the corn's over with.
Yeah, but my goodness, we enjoyed it. It was so good, and we got a lot of it in the freezer too
Yeah, we
to
did.
enjoy. So
It's just so nice to go down there and pull enough ears for supper every day.
yeah, we enjoyed eating a lot of it fresh.
No, yeah.
Someone asked me how many dozen we put up. Me and Matt didn't even count it, but how many? I'm terrible at guessing, so I don't know.
We probably put up, it wasn't a great deal because we ate so much of it, and then we pulled a bunch however many times to give to Granny.
Give to Granny.
We probably put up, I don't know, 10 or 12 dozen probably.
Yeah, maybe more than that.
Maybe a little more, I don't know.
Closer to 20, I don't know though. I'm terrible at stuff like that. But
gosh, we ate a bunch of it.
We ate a lot of it.
Yeah.
Most of it we ate fresh. We ate it every day. Ate it for breakfast,
Yeah.
dinner, and supper some
Yeah.
days. Yeah. So it was really good.
Very good.
Really good. Maybe closer to when fall does get here, me and Matt can do a video where we just talk about what we really liked this year and our plans for next year or something like that. What we're glad we did this year, because there are several things that we really were pleased with. Thinking about not as necessarily plants growing, which that's true about that too, but more of the structural kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the things that we didn't like so much, or that we wished we'd got done and we didn't get done, which is, we always say we aim really, really high, and we usually don't get it all, but we get part way there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun to aim high and think about what could be and dream about it.
Yep.
Sometimes it takes us several years for those dreams to ever come to fruition, and sometimes we realize those dreams, we shouldn't have dreamed them in the first place, and we forget about them. So,
Yeah.
Talking about putting up, if you watched a video that I shared last week about making chow chow, which Matt's been eating already, the last jar that I didn't seal up.
Yeah.
Him and Corey's just eating it out of the jar.
My goodness, that stuff's good.
It is good. And anyway, but in that I made some grape jelly and some blackberry jelly, and I was talking about the different, ways people make it, but I said if you use pectin like I do, you can always find the insert in the box. Several people let me know they no longer put that in there. And I've not bought any Sure Gel this year because I had some kind of a stockpile from last year. So I didn't know that. So people said they don't do that anymore. Now they might with other brands, but for the Sure Gel, they don't put it in there anymore. You have to go to their website, and then they'll tell you how to make. Then you can find all the recipes. But there used to be, Matt, I know you've seen it, it's all folded up, and you had to unfold it, and it was real long, and then it told all the directions for lots of different kinds of jelly. I mean, all different fruits, and then also how to make jam, and then also how to make freezer jam. And so I said that was really handy if you've never made it before, but several people told me it's no longer in the box. So, but you can go to their website, they said, and find all the directions there.
Well, that is just
Probably
money saving.
Save money, yeah, just to get rid of the paper, save money, and maybe save on the package and trash as far as filling up the landfill and all that. I don't know. Anyway, but several people said they were happy they had saved, folded up one and just saved it, so they had it. Of course, you can make jelly without using pectin too. A lot of people prefer it that way. I've had several people tell me they can taste the pectin, so they don't like it. But it doesn't. It's the way I make mine. Everybody just has to do it different. Do it the way they want to. But certainly in the old days, they didn't have that. They just boiled the fruit juice and the jelly and the sugar till it gelled.
Yep.
There's a real art to that.
Yep.
Banks is, I don't know what he's chasing.
He's stalking the chickens.
Yeah, he can't get them, but he's trying to. So you may have noticed something different about Matt here. You see he's got glasses.
Yeah.
Got him some new glasses. So we had shared before that Matt's having, as he got older, he never had to wear glasses, but as he got older, like a lot of people, I was like that too. I was really fortunate. I never needed glasses until I started getting older. I think I was in my early 40s when I first started noticing that I couldn't see as good. I don't know about you, Matt. How old were you?
I was upper 30s. So it's been a while.
Been a while for
Yeah.
you. And Matt did go to the doctor. He went to 2 different eye doctors over, 5 years or something?
I went 3 times over, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, and they all kept saying, it's not time. It's not time. Come back in a year or 2 years, I can't remember what. And so I'd go to another one thinking maybe I can get a different diagnosis because I couldn't see, and that's what I kept telling them, I can't see now. And they said, well, it's not time.
Said he was like right on the cusp of needing them, and he just to wear readers, which is what he was doing.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. And of course, you know how that is. You take them on, put them off, take them on, put them off a bunch of times a day, and it's aggravating and keeping up with them. But anyway, I finally went this time, and they prescribed me glasses.
So he's happy.
Yeah, I just got them yesterday, so.
He's still trying to get used to.
So they are progressive, which means, they get stronger as you go down in the lens. And that is some getting used to. But today's a little better than yesterday, actually. So they say a couple of weeks it takes to get used to them. So when I first had them yesterday, when I first put them on, I didn't think it was that bad. But as the day went on, I thought, my goodness, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not. But yeah, I think I'll be able to. It seems much easier and better today. If I can keep up with them and keep from breaking them.
Yeah.
I have broken every single pair of readers I have ever bought.
Yeah.
So I hope I don't do that to these because they're a little more pricey than the readers.
I've always said Matt could be a test dummy for clothes and boots and glasses, whatever, because he's hard on stuff. Not on purpose, just because he works hard. I wear contacts, or if I don't have the contacts in, I just use the readers. But I was, like I said, in my 40s, and the first time I ever went to the eye doctor, actually, the first time I ever went to have my eyes checked was in 2016. So I was 46. I was almost 46. I was 45, but it was the day before Pap died. I don't know why I'm getting choked up about it now, but why I can't say that. But I had to take Granny to get her eyes. She's wore glasses as long as I can remember. Even when I was a little girl, she wore glasses. Anyway, I had to take her, and so I'd been complaining about my eyes, and at that time I think I was having them. Remember those red places I used to have in my eyes? Anyway, she convinced me to make an appointment too with her doctor, so I did, and he told me that he was very nice, but he told me the same thing they had told Matt. Said, you're right on the cusp of it, but if I give them to you, you probably won't wear them, and it's a waste of money, all that kind of stuff, and so you should just go up one in your readers and keep wearing them. So that's what I did. Anyway, that during the night, Pap got sick and he died early the next morning. But so then it was probably, I don't know, maybe 2 years after that that I finally went back to him and said, I think they're worse, and so he checked me and said, yeah, you need them. And right away I knew I wanted contacts. What Matt's talking about, the readers, I hated that too. You put them on, you take them off, put them on and take them off. And at that time we were playing a lot of music, and that's when I really hated it, because I needed them to, like, if I was going to look at something to play. I'm not like Corey and Katie and Matt and Paul. I'm not as talented at just playing. Sometimes I got to look at my directions Paul's wrote out, and so I'd have to put them on. But then I'd want to look out at the crowd, and then if it was a song I didn't need to look at, like one we played forever, then I need to take them off, and I just hated that. So right from the beginning, I said I wanted to wear contacts, and I said, can I? Is this something I can wear? And he said, you can try. Yeah, sure. So I have, like Matt was talking about his being progressive, one of my contacts is for distance and one's for close up. And he said, some people can do this and some people can't. You'll just have to try them, and plus just getting used to the contacts and all that. But when you're sitting, like at the doctor that I go to, when I'm sitting in the chair, there's a giant mirror across the, way there. And so when they first put them in my eyes and I looked, he said, well, what do you think? I said, I think I'm way older than what I thought. was like, even though I've been wearing those readers, I guess I wasn't seeing the, you know, I don't know. I was like, oh my goodness, I look way older than what I thought I did. And also, I bet I'm going to go home and think my house needs to be cleaned, that it's dirtier than I thought. Anyway, he laughed about that. But from the beginning, I loved them. I've just been in love with them. Love the contacts. Like I said, if I'm not wearing them around the house, I just use the readers or at night or something like that. But Matt didn't want to fool with the contacts.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try them.
He's not going to do that. But one of my friends were the same age, and so then she was going through that too, and so she had to go, and she got contacts to begin with, and she liked them at first, but then she's like, I can't do this anymore, and so she just does glasses now. But and then one of our other friends, mutual friends, she's one of the people that's like, when we're fussing about it, she's like, just be grateful. I had to start wearing glasses when I was in 2nd grade. You know, y'all got all your life without it. But she wears contacts, and she's like me. She's like, oh, it's the best thing ever. Best thing ever when I first. Of course, she's been wearing them a lot longer than me, but best thing ever.
So what happens if you get something in your eye and you have contacts in?
You mean just like a little something, or you mean like if you hurt?
No, when I mean, no, just something little. Like you see how many times I get things in my eyes. That's why I don't even want to try them.
Well, I mean, I've got like pieces of dirt, or you know, if I'm something splashed in my eye or something, and it's just it's never bothered my contact. In other words, I just have to go get like a tissue or something, and like if a gnat or something like that, and get it out just like I would normally. And there's certain eye drops that you can use with your contacts. You can't just use any, but it has to be a certain kind or it might affect them, but can't think of the name of them now. But anyway, so you could have some of those to flush it out if you needed to. And it is amazing if you wear contacts or been around somebody. It's just like, you know, cellophane or something. It's just it's like, how in the world do they put like a lens on that? And then you just wear it. It's amazing, but I love them. But we're really happy that Matt's got glasses, finally.
I'm just happy to be able to see a little bit, because even my further off vision has been suffering the last probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's why I went to the eye doctor to begin with, because I already knew my close-up vision was just gone. Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe... Yeah. You know, but then they kept saying, you're not there yet. And so it was a couple more years of them. It's just a complete aggravation.
I remember.
You can't see nothing.
Right. I remember when I was first getting them, like that first time, and I said, I was like, Matt, I said, I think I see up close is where I need it. I still see good if I'm looking out through there. And he kind of smiled. He said, I don't think you see as good as you think you do out there. And then it was true, like when he put the contacts in, and I'm like, whoa, look at that mirror over there. And man, ain't I old. I didn't realize I was that old. But Matt kind of had that when we went and picked up his glasses and had some other stuff we had to do, and he's driving with him. I'm like, well, how is it? And you felt like that too, like all of a sudden he thought he could see okay way in the distance, but it was so much better with the glasses. Right. Yeah. So kind of the same.
Yeah, it was a whole lot duller, fuzzier out there than what I thought it was. Right. When I put these on now, I can see much better.
Yeah.
If I can just get used to this progressive stuff, because when you move, when you look down, or you go down steps or whatever, you've got to learn how to point your head.
Yeah.
Because you can't just use your eyes to look down walking down steps, because you're looking through the higher magnification and you can't see as well.
God made us so amazingly for our eyes to be able to adjust to stuff like that. It's just amazing. Right. Even I recently had to go back just for my yearly checkup, and when I did, one of my eyes, which he said is rare but can happen, had actually improved. So he wanted me to test out a different contact in that eye just for a day or two, and then if I agreed, then when they ordered them, they would order that one. And when he first put it in, I could just see like normal, but as the day went on, like Matt said, I began to feel like that eye was like kind of pulling or something. I don't know, something. That's the only way I know how to explain it. But then by the next day, that was gone, and it was just like nothing. So it was like my eye just adjusting to that new lens. just amazing when you think about it, and amazing what people thought of all that. You know, who invented it, who invented even the glasses to begin with, and then the ones that would, like I don't know, the different, I guess nearsighted or farsighted, the difference between those, and then who first thought, well, if you're both, let's give you one of each. I mean, it's just so fascinating. Yeah, so fascinating. And then, like for me, so that's what I'm wearing basically, that my eyes somehow compensate and just know that. And I don't know, my mind isn't smart enough to actually understand that all, but it's amazing.
Yep.
We're very thankful though. Matt's finally got him some glasses.
Yeah.
If he can manage to get used to them, which I think he will, and then not to break them.
Yeah. I'm a little anxious about seeing how I do in the woods with them.
Should be better.
Well, I hope.
It is a weird, and we are grateful, me and Matt both, for our eyesight. For any, you know, even if you have to wear glasses, you're grateful for your eyesight, but we're grateful that ours has been so strong and healthy all of our lives. But like my sister-in-law Kim, she tells me, like, if she lays her glasses down on the bed and she don't know where she laid them, she can't, she has to feel to find them, you know. So me or Matt, neither one, like if I don't have my readers on or my contacts in, I can still go about I just can't read anything if you hand it to me. It's real small. It's big, I can kind of still see it, but so we're real grateful that we've been blessed with the good eyesight.
Yep.
Actually, I guess me and Paul and Steve all do. None of us inherited what Granny, whatever hers is, but she's always wore glasses. Pap didn't until he was like us, and here's you a funny Pap story. He was so frugal, and he just didn't think about buying stuff for himself. So he would just, because Granny had those, she always wore glasses, so she kept her glasses, you know, if she got a new pair or whatever. So we were at church one Sunday, and he's up in the choir with his book, and I had rode to church with him probably that morning, but I just wasn't paying attention. He was like us. He didn't wear his glasses all the time. He would just put them on when he needed them. So I look over there at him, and he's got a pair of Mama's glasses. And you remember the ones in the 70s that like went down, you know, had a little jag in this, and I was like, Pap, those are just so blatantly women's glasses, you know. I was like,
he didn't care.
No, he didn't care. They were just useful, and he's going to wear them.
Right.
But he eventually, I don't know, in his 70s at some point, early 70s, I guess, he had to have cataract surgery. And I took him to the VA to do one eye, and then, you know, a couple of weeks later, I can't remember now, a month later, 2 months later, whatever, they did the other eye. And after that, he had back 20/20 vision, pretty much. And one eye was 20/20, and the other one was almost, so it just made such a drastic difference. And he hadn't told anybody how bad his eyes was, but then after, that was typical Pap, he would tell you afterwards. He wouldn't complain or talk about it, feeling bad or anything, but then after it's all over, he would tell you about it. So once his eyes were fixed, he said, man, I was getting worried. When I would drive, I couldn't hardly see anything, and when I drove at night, it was just like 100 Christmas trees. And I said, what do you mean Christmas trees? He said, you know, with their lights. And I'm thinking, and you was driving my children around, Daddy? You know? Anyway, but yeah, he was wearing those glasses of Granny's. I was like, you need to let me buy you some readers or go to an eye doctor or something. And when we bought him some reading glasses at Walmart, but I was like, I don't reckon I don't think so. Am I wrong? I don't think he ever had a prescription pair of glasses.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, because I remember seeing him in a pair of glasses that were, well, I'm assuming they were, because they were different. They were like a set of silver metal frames.
Yeah,
you remember those?
Them. Yeah, I remember them. So he eventually did get to the eye doctor.
And I think that was through the VA.
Oh, okay. Well, then yeah, probably by the time he went
once
out
he
there.
got hooked up with the VA
probably.
hospital, that's when he.
Yeah, they had an eye clinic there. Yeah.
They actually told me that I had cataracts this time over there, and I thought, do what? I thought only old people got that.
I said, no wonder you can't see, man.
Exactly.
She said it was just the beginning stages.
She said, yes, it's not time to do anything about them or cut them off yet, but at some point, she said everybody gets them, but at some point you'll have to have them removed. I said, my goodness, that's an official stamp
That you're old,
that you're
middle-aged,
you're beginning to
or
age.
whatever.
Yeah. But I can see better, and that's good, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
I'll get used to these things one way or the other, and I can see a whole lot better, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was so thankful when I first got my contacts. It was great. And as the days go by, your eyes will get even more adjusted.
Yep.
Well, I guess you've about come unfed, ain't you? You wanting your tomato sandwich? You're going to get back on the tomato wagon?
I am today.
I didn't show you, but I picked some dandy ones down here.
Did
some
you?
of the Randy Hooper, some, the one hillbilly. We grew one hillbilly, so you could cut it open and taste it at least, whether you put it on a sandwich.
Right.
And some of the brandy wines down here, and 2 of the black creme.
Okay.
And one of them I broke, so.
Maybe, it'd be kind of wasteful. I started to say I can get a slice off of each one.
You could.
And
Make you a big tomato.
Make a, I don't know what you would call it, a sandwich out of a slice off of each tomato. That might be a little weird.
That'd probably be good. We need to do like a comparison. The Randy Hooper ones, those big, like, don't you agree with this? The taste of them, I said, was more like a, it's not as dusky or rich as the black, or as the Cherokee Purple, but more of a bright tomato flavor, kind of. But it's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's good, but more of a brightness to it.
All right.
Yeah. I've been, the whole time I was down going around, every time I go by Tommy Toe, I gotta eat one. Man, those orange ones are so good.
Goodness.
So good. Well, we're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia, which of course is a whole lot about making a garden, but I guess today a whole lot about eyesight and Matt's new glasses.
Yeah.